Okay.
Trying to figure out what backgrounds I can use.
Oh, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, cute. I'm just gonna give everybody just one more minute because I mean we have unlimited minutes now.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
thanks to Abby.
Thank you, Abby. Okay. Put this stupid bar at the bottom. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's 8:10. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started now. And we're recording. Good.
Yep.
Okay. So welcome everybody. This is just a quick little pop-up class. I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to make spell oils. And though the link is not in here yet, it will be, but I'll get to that in a moment. So first of all, are you serious? Here we go. So, nope, there we go, period. Okay, so magical oils. Magical oils have a variety of uses in witchcraft. The most common methods are to create magical oils or to infuse a carrier oil with herbs and resins for a specific intention. So these mainly come into two categories, anointing and dressing. Anointing oils are for anointing the self at pressure points or chakra points on the skin, but dressing oils can be for anointing, but specifically also for dressing objects and candles. So all anointing oils are dressing oils, but not all dressing oils are anointing oils. So the magical oils on your right here, as you can see, these are actually conjure oils, and they're made from typically voodoo and hoodoo recipes, and they are safe to buy and use from Afro-spiritual, Latina, and indigenous people, but they are not for your own production and profit. So I just really want to stress that. The recipes that you'll find on the internet are most likely to come from ATRs or African traditional religions. So please, please, I cannot stress this enough, please do your research as to whether or not they come from an open or restricted practice. I'll be sharing a voodoo and hoodoo oil recipe that I learned, but they're for all to make, but not to sell. So you can make them and you can use them, but they're not for your profit. I just really, really want to stress that because the Orishas, the Lawal, and Black ancestors will screw you up. So please, please be safe and please do your research. So next, creating spell oils. First off is carrier oils. So all spell oils start off with a base or a carrier oil, and depending on the intended use and intention, you have a variety of carriers that can be bought in grocery stores or online. So first off, olive oil. This is pretty much all-purpose. And then you have grapeseed oil. This is also all-purpose, but it's also a bit thinner than olive oil. And then you have canola and castor. So these are actually best for dressing and infusing with like toxic and irritating herbs because oftentimes if you're using baneful herbs that are toxic and irritant, you want to use canola and castor, mainly because it isn't really best to put canola and castor on the skin because that can also like make you feel really greasy, it gets everywhere, and it's harder to clean up. So definitely focus on using canola and castor when it comes to baneful oils. So the following carriers next are actually recommended for anointing oil only for their moisturizing properties. So you have grapeseed because it is also all-purpose, but you also have sweet almond oil, coconut oil, but also do note that this one solidifies when cooled, and jojoba oil, but jojoba oil, it's actually a wax that also solidifies when cooled, so just the same as coconut oil. So next step to creating spell oils is infusing. So after selecting a carrier oil, now you need a vessel to store your oil while it infuses. A glass or plastic jar is highly recommended after the constant shaking your oil will go through. But as far as vessels, cork jars are not the best option for storage since cork it absorbs oil, and it will eventually expose the infusing process to oxygen and air, which makes your oil kind of stale. And then now comes cleansing. The jar needs to be clean and dry and then cleansed. So some people prefer to sanitize their vessels with rubbing alcohol, as it doubles to clean it physically, but also cleanse it spiritually, since alcohol has the properties of cleansing and cleaning. Spiritual waters and colognes are fine, but, oh, sorry, typo, but it should be dried out before starting the process of infusion. So after selecting your herbs, your resins, and your curios, they must also be completely dried out and cleansed, preferably with incense smoke. Fresh or hydrated herbs will most likely spoil during the infusion process and ruin like all of the dedicated weeks and hard work that you put into creating your oil. Following selection is charging your herbs to support the intentions. You can find charging methods on slide 6 of this this Google Slides. This is actually the beginner witch lessons. You can find that in resources and witchy classes. So charge everything and then add your herbs into your jar one by one. So finally, the infusion process can begin by adding oil to your jar, but be careful not to pack your herbs or else the oil will bubble as it sinks in and it just gets super messy. So after that, shake the jar once it's been sealed while speaking the mother intention onto the jar. So say that you're making like a peace oil. The mother intention would be, I call upon the herbs and this oil to invoke peace, or just something of that sort. So now it should be heated. But do note, if your vessel is plastic, you probably don't want to do the following steps because the plastic can melt and create toxic fumes. So in a tall pot or a saucepan, you're going to want to fill it with water until it reaches about half past your jars and then place it on the stove. Heat the water to a point just before a light simmer and leave your jars for about 4 to 5 hours without letting the water boil. This is actually really super important. This especially comes in handy if your carrier is likely to solidify. So like I stated earlier, coconut and jojoba oils will solidify when it cools down. So letting it heat and kind of infuse the herbs through heating, it actually does it on the stove better than if you leave it out where it solidifies and nothing really happens. So lastly, what you're going to want to do is wrap your jar in a dark cloth and shake your jar for about once for 2 minutes every day, in a total of 2 weeks at minimum. Your wrapped jars are safe to leave in the sun, but for no more than 1 hour at all. When it comes to creating spell oils, it's birthed, to put in a sense. And also I included some recipes. After the oil has been given at least 2 weeks to infuse with your herbs, it's ready to be quote unquote birthed. If you'd like, you can strain out the herbal matter from the oil by squeezing the oil through a cheesecloth. And also do note that if you did use baneful or irritant herbs to the skin, to use gloves while you're squeezing out the oil. But I personally prefer to leave most of the herbs, if not all, in. And then at that point, your magical oils are ready. Here on this infographic are a few different oil recipes. These aren't strictly for infusing style. These are essential oil style. So aside from infusing to create a magical oil, you can also use essential oil on top of a carrier. So if you want to click through, first is the Fiery Wall of Protection. This one is the one that I noted comes from Voodoo and Hoodoo. This is the recipe that I learned. You're free to use it and to make it. However, as I said, do not sell it. It is not for us as non-Black people to share, but if you do have Black lineage within your bloodline, then this is safe to make and sell. Essentially, with every recipe that you'll get from me per se, here is the title and then what the purpose of this oil is. The way that I format my recipes is that I give you the ingredient first, and then what to spiritually charge it with in terms of intention. So you can also look at this in my basic witchcraft lessons on slide 6 when it comes to charging herbs. But for your intention, you're just going to want to say this sentence right here. So when it comes to frankincense resin, I can give you an example. I don't know, this is just what I have on hand right now. You're going to want to hold it in your hand, kind of make sure that you're making physical contact with it. Say, I call upon the power of frankincense resin to invoke protection of mind through this magical oil. And as I will it, so shall it be, or so mote it be, or whatever power words you like to use. And then on and on with the rest of these. And I'll always give you like extra pointers and extra notes when it comes to spell oils, but if you ever have any questions, you can always DM the mods, your teachers, and we can feel free to ask us questions and we'll answer them whenever you need. Next, oh, nope, sorry. This is a personal recipe that I created. This is called the Celestial Prophet tea, oil, and incense. So you can use it for all 3 of those purposes. The herbs that I list are safe for consumption in terms of tea. You can also use them to create an oil or to create an incense. And then for prosperity oil, this one is actually by one of my favorite online witches, by the Witch of Wanderlust. If you click the link, it brings you strictly to her website. And I know that it says add to cart. You don't need to. All you have to do is just click on this and you can see the entire page. Okay, and if you want to see her process, you can click the link right here where it says video here, obviously, and then watch how she does it. I think it's actually really good to see how other witches do things. It kind of gives you kind of an energy tutorial, if that makes sense. And I'm not sure if we have any witches in the server who do come from African bloodlines, but here are some more authentic ATR oils. So these all come from hoodoo and voodoo. I wouldn't say for sure to use this straight ahead, but if you do know any Black witches or any mixed witches, feel free to direct them here. And with that is our pop-up class. I know that this one was pretty quick. We just wanted to give you guys just some pointers, some things to consider. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna look through. No questions. This was an essential class. Oh, thank you, JC. Yeah, I know a lot of witches hear about like buying oils from botanicas, but oftentimes, as wide as that variety can be, some of them don't hit like your target goal or like what you specifically need it for. So this kind of helps, you know, refrain from you like taking money out of your pocket. The nice thing about these recipes is that you can make them in like a huge batch to the point where you probably will never need to like buy any for the rest of your life. Like I know witches who probably make like a gallon of an oil. They'll basically use that entire thing for their entire life, maybe their family members, and maybe sell the rest or something. Yeah, of course, Ari, thank you. Okay, so if there are no more questions, our mods will be heading over to voice chat to hang out for the rest of the night. We can answer your questions there, and thank you for coming. Yay. I know that this was a relatively short class, but you know, just wanted to engage with you all, make sure that everybody's having a nice day, and yeah, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Alto. Yeah, of course, everybody. I'm going to be heading out from the session. So thank you all for coming.
See ya.